Hello student, back again with me, Miss Fanny. Today we're going to learn about the review of Unit 3, the unit about material changes in grade 6. This is the third one, so it means we almost reached the end. Let's have a look what we learned on the Unit 3. The first subtopic is about reversible and irreversible changes. When a substance can be changed back into the same state of matter, we call it that the substance has gone into reversible changes. Example, solid ice, when it gets heated, it can turn into liquid water, and to make it turn back into solid, we can cool it down, or the liquid will lose heat and change into solid. And the next one is irreversible change, when it's the opposite of reversible, so you cannot change back the process. Example, when you burn the matches, the wood match, it will change into a carbon, the black one, but you cannot change back the process from the carbon to the wood. You cannot do that. We call it as irreversible changes. The next one, subtopic 3.2, about mixing and separating solids. A mixture, when you get the two or more different substances mixed together, we call it as mixture. They are not chemically joined, so we can easily separate them. Mixture can be in form of solid, liquid, or gases. So it can be mix of solids like the berries, or the mix of liquid like the drinks, or even the mixture of gases like the air we breathe. The substances do not change when they are mixed together, or we can say they do not react with each other. That's what we call a mixture. And how can you separate it? Since it's not chemically joined, so we can separate it easily. One, we can use your hand picking up one by one or sorting. It's usually useful for taking the big particles. And if the particles are very small enough to be separated, you can use the help of sieve. The next subtopic about soluble and insoluble substance. The first thing you should learn is about the process of dissolve or dissolving. Example, in this picture, you can dissolve the water and coffee together. And if the substance can completely dissolve in liquid, we call that substances is soluble. So this is the keyword, the substance. Soluble. Soluble means can be mixed or can be dissolved completely in the liquid. If it is insoluble, that's the opposite. It means it cannot be dissolved in a liquid. Some of the words we learned during this subtopic is dissolve, when it's mixed completely inside a liquid. We also learned the word soluble, when the substances can be mixed evenly, completely dissolved in a liquid. Or we can learn about the word insoluble, which is the opposite of soluble, or you can say it cannot be mixed with the liquid. Maybe it can mix, but it cannot dissolve completely. The mixture that contain insoluble substance, we call it as suspension. As you see in this picture, this is the flour and this is the salt mixture. This one we call it as a suspension because substance cannot dissolve completely. How can we separate insoluble substance? we learned in the subtopic, we can separate by using the process of filtering. We can separate the mixture, usually in form of solid and liquid. The process itself works like a sieve, and it's usually applied on the filtering the water. But to make it more safe to drink, you need to boil it or add another chemical. This filter also appears in natural form in the wetland as marshes and swamps. So if the water comes and passes through this area, they get filtered until clean enough to get into our home. And besides in the nature wetlands, the animal also adapt this filtering process. Most of the birds, they have special beak to take in the food, to get the food. So the beak works like a sieve. When the birds dig into the mud or into the water, they can get the algae or small shrimp or fish by moving their beaks like a sieve. The examples are flamingos and swan. While in the filtering coffee, there are some tools that you need, like filter paper here, and also the container for the plates. And the substance that left inside the filter paper, we call it as the residue. Here, this is the residue that trap and cannot pass, while the substance that can pass the filter paper, we call it as the filtrate. The next subtopic about solution. The solution made of soluble substance and liquid, and it consists of two parts, solute and solvent. Solute is the substance that dissolves, usually solid, and solvent is the liquid which the solid dissolves. The seawater is an example of solution. The salt is solute and the water is the solvent. Even you cannot see the salt in the water, but you can tell that the water contains salt. You cannot see it, but you can taste it. When the solute and the solvent mix together, they will form the uniform appearance and make the color change, or the solute completely dissolve between the particle of solvent. And we also learn about the difference between mixture and pure substance. The particles of different substance will go into the mixture, and then pure substance, they only have one particle of substance. In a mixture, they not chemically join, and in a pure substance, they chemically join together, so cannot be separated again. But in the mixture, since they not chemically join together, so it can be separated. You learn that the solution made of solute and the solvent, while the mixture, the particles made of different substance, which can be separated. Pure substance consists only one particle of substance and cannot be separated. How can we make solid dissolve faster? First, we can make it dissolve faster by stirring. The stirring will cause the particle of solute to spread out into the spaces between the particles of the solvent more quickly. It will increase the rate at which a solute dissolves. And the second way, we can make solid dissolve faster by heating. The heating process will speed up the particles of solute to spread out through the solution more easily. And this is the last subtopic of the unit. How does the grain size affect the solving? Is it affecting? Yes. Smaller grain means fewer particles than the large grain. And during the dissolving, the particle on the outside will dissolve first, then go inside. As you see in the picture, if it is the larger grain, it has more particle than the small grain. So, the large grain will take longer time to dissolve. This is the example of grains. Can be grains of sugar, grains of salt, or coffee or other substances. That's all the lesson for today. Thanks for joining me. See you again next time. Goodbye.